My entire medical career, starting in medical school, I kept hearing these things that just didn't make any sense to me. I'm like, really? Is that true? I can't believe that's true.
A lot of things about medicine at the time of my training didn't sit right with me.
As a physician, I took an oath to do no harm, and I took an oath to help patients thrive. And so
when I found out that basically Big Pharma was making billions of dollars a year off of pills that millions of people were taking every day, that wasn't decreasing the risk of heart attack and stroke in any meaningful way. And I was like, yeah, I can't do this anymore.
I had become so frustrated with that my wife very point blank said, look, I think you have two choices, fix it or leave. And I thought about it and I said, I can't fix it, I'm leaving. So I left medicine altogether.
I actually had to walk away from the surgical world because I realized that the system is rigged against the American patient to create diseases and then profit off of them.
After seeing all of this, I eventually left Western medicine. I don't practice Western medicine as a doctor. I became so disillusioned.
I was incredibly naive in my thought of how medicine worked. I thought, you do the right thing and you're rewarded for that. And what I found out very painfully was that if you're advocating for health and lifestyle and it's impacting the bottom line of a corporation or a hospital and they're losing money, they're not interested in that. And that's the whole crux here. And so I didn't want to go back to that.
Doctors are leaving the medical system in record numbers, pushing back against more surgeries, prescribing endless medications, and doing more unnecessary procedures. And it's not because they don't care about their patients, but because they care too much, and they're frustrated with seeing people suffer longer than they need to because of the way the medical system is set up. Dr. Ken Berry, Dr. Jason Fung, Dr. Cassie Means, Dr. Paul Saladino, Dr. Peter Attia, Dr. Mark Hyman, Dr. Sean Baker. These are physicians who made it through some of the hardest, most grueling years of training anyone can imagine, and yet they all reached the same breaking point.
Through medical school, we're not really taught how to actually help patients get better.
My practice had turned into nothing but complete drudgery. I had patients I'd been seeing for 10 years for their type 2 diabetes, and the only thing that had changed for them over the years was the number of pills that they now took. They took a lot more now than they did 10 years ago. Their diabetes was no better. They were being damaged and harmed every single day of their life because I was an idiot.
So why are more and more doctors refusing to prescribe medications, and what does this mean for you? Well, let's talk about it. I'm Lillie. I'm a certified nutrition health coach, and each week I post videos on how to live a healthier and more abundant life, and I'm trying to make being healthy cool again. So please consider subscribing if you support this message. Now, the good news is more and more doctors are jumping on board and sharing this same message that food, movement, and sleep can be simple but powerful tools that can radically change someone's health. However, most doctors were not taught these concepts in school, and most people go to their doctor and assume they're getting the best advice in the world. After all, doctors go through years of training, residency, and endless exams. But here's what most patients don't realize. In all of medical school, doctors receive either 0, upwards of 20 hours of nutrition classes. That's not even 1 week of classes.
In 4 years of medical school, I had exactly 0 courses in nutrition.
In my training, I was never, ever taught to look at the whole patient. I was only taught how to, do the surgery and then bill for it.
Instead, what they're trained to do is look at a disease, diagnose it, then here's your prescription, here's your surgery, let's have this medication, let's do this injection.
What I was told, what I was charged with throughout my medical education, memorizing thousands of drugs.
Prescribe a pill or perform an operation.
Prescribe, prescribe, prescribe.
Then I'd have to add another pill and then an injection.
In order to make someone a lot of money selling us drugs to make us healthy, but they never actually heal us because we're destined to be labeled with the disease our entire life.
And part of this is because, who are the people underwriting our medical education? It's the pharmaceutical companies,
Medical school is basically funded by pharmacological companies.
But the pharmaceutical companies are wildly invested in medical education, in medical research. At the level of the FDA, at the level of the USDA, there is profound corruption.
The way that healthcare, which is the largest and fastest growing industry in the United States, makes money is you have more patients in the system having more things done to them for longer periods of time.
And it's all about profiteering. Medicine has basically gone to profiteering. And we're seeing United Healthcare, all the health insurance companies are focusing on how do we make more money.
More and more drugs being prescribed, and things are not getting better. It's more difficult to actually see a doctor and talk about health and well-being. That doesn't happen. It's all about more and more drugs.
It's a system built to manage disease, not cure it. Think about it. If you have high blood pressure, you'll probably leave the office with a pill. If you have type 2 diabetes, you'll leave the office with a prescription. If you have joint pain, arthritis, migraines, the answer is almost always another pill. And when that pill has side effects, guess what? Another prescription to cover those side effects. Before long, patients are juggling 3, 5, sometimes even 10 medications. They're not thriving, they're not healing, they're just surviving off of pills.
20 years ago, when I started medical school, it would be unusual to be on more than 3 medications. That was considered polypharmacy, which we know is a big risk factor for just worsening health, drug interactions, and so on. 3 medications was considered polypharmacy. Now we have words like hyperpolypharmacy, which is 10 or more. I've seen some patients on 35 tablets, 5 tablets, and that is sadly increasingly common.
Too many people believe that their health struggles are simply a result of their genetics. They think, well, if my mom had high blood pressure, then of course I'm going to have high blood pressure too, when really it's not necessarily our genes that are passed down as much as our family's habits. For example, maybe growing up, we always had soda, or we ate microwavable meals from the frozen section, or we always had pizza night on Friday. Well, those habits are then passed down and are carried into adulthood, so then we may have similar health outcomes like the high blood pressure that mom has, or the type 2 diabetes that dad has.
Whatever the problem is, it must be genetic, because now we're seeing them more and more in families, for example. But yet there's no known genetic link. It's just, well, families get it, so it must be genetic. But nobody's saying, well, hang on, families do the same thing. They eat the same thing. They live in the same house. They're exposed to the same toxins and all these other environmental issues.
And because doctors rarely explain this, or even learn it themselves in medical school, then patients believe that their health struggles are inevitable. Instead of addressing the root cause, doctors write the prescription, move on to the next patient, and the cycle continues. And here's what's even more frustrating. Many doctors know the system isn't working. Many of them feel trapped that their success is measured off of prescriptions written, not off of lives healed. But their hands are tied because insurance companies measure them based off of speed and volume, not off of depth of care. Most doctors get like 7 to 10 minutes with each patient, which isn't enough time to ask more questions, dive more into root cause, lifestyle, nutrition, sleep, movement kind of topics with their patients. And in some cases, doctors are even discouraged or punished for stepping outside the box, whether it's talking too much about food and nutrition, suggesting alternative therapies, or not using a pill-first approach.
I was a head of orthopedics at a hospital. I was incredibly busy. I was doing more surgeries than anybody in the whole hospital. The hospital really liked what I was doing. They put me on billboards, put me on radio shows, promoted the hell out of me. I was their golden boy, more or less. And then I had the audacity to start playing with my own diet and figuring out how it helped me. And then I started to approach patients with making dietary shifts. Their pain would go away. So the reason for surgery would go away. I had people that were scheduling, I'm going to replace your knee in 6 weeks. We got to get you to lose 20 pounds, blah, blah, blah. And they come back 2 weeks later and, hey, my knee doesn't hurt anymore. And I'm like, well, that's weird. Well, if your knee doesn't hurt, we're not doing surgery on you. So I started canceling surgeries. And then as I saw more and more, I said, hey, there's something here. Maybe we can have these people avoid these big procedures that have potentials for complications. And I approached the hospital administration and said, hey guys, I would like to spend, half a day a week just, counseling patients on lifestyle stuff. And they said, that's a good thought, but no, we don't want you to do that. To me, I was like, that's really strange.
Here's the hopeful part is doctors are no longer staying silent. They're saying no to endless prescriptions, no to treating symptoms instead of causes, no to the idea that health comes from a bottle. Instead, they're saying yes to lifestyle, food, movement, sleep.
You have to understand that type 2 diabetes is largely a dietary disease. You can actually start to reverse this disease by changing the diet. We treated it with drugs for a long time. And if you give drugs, to a dietary disease, well, you're never going to fix it because you haven't identified the core problem and fixed it. You need to change the diet to fix that dietary problem, then the disease goes away.
I have seen so many people, thousands of people in those 5 years, heal from diseases that Western medicine taught me and my colleagues were incurable. Diabetes, obesity, depression, dementia, insomnia, infertility, autoimmune conditions, autoimmune skin conditions like eczema, psoriasis, thyroid conditions, GI conditions, Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis. These are profoundly scary words in Western medicine. These are diseases that cannot be cured, and yet many of you have cured these diseases. I've met you at this conference, and I've seen thousands of people do this.
60 to 70% of all chronic diseases that plague this country could either be totally cured or significantly modulated with a simple change in the American diet.
When I was sitting in my office treating my patients who are, just endless stream of people with chronic illnesses coming in, diabetes, obesity, autoimmune disease, this, that, and the other thing. I'm like, why is this patient sick? Well, it's mostly because of the food they're eating.
Most conditions plaguing modern society, obesity, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, even autoimmune conditions, are strongly tied to lifestyle. And yet doctors aren't trained to even talk about this. And that's why we're seeing this mass exodus of doctors who are leaving the medical system because they want to see their patients get better and heal. Yes, medications can help in certain cases. They can save lives, but most people walking into their doctor's office today don't have a pill deficiency.
You're depressed because you have a deficiency of an antidepressant. I mean, it doesn't really make any sense.
They have a lifestyle problem. They're not sleeping enough. They're eating ultra-processed foods and not enough real foods. They're stressed, disconnected, sedentary. And the good news, those are things that you have the power to change. You don't have to wait for a prescription to start healing your body. You can start today, right now. All right, so what are some simple things that we can do today to start reclaiming our health? First things first, prioritizing real food, meaning food that is not ultra processed with a bunch of seed oils, added sugars, artificial colors, and instead getting foods that are one ingredient, preferably, meaning meat, fish, eggs, dairy, fruits, and veggies. Now, some of you say that you don't have great quality options at your grocery stores, and so a convenient way to get high quality meats and seafood delivered to your door is through a brand called Good Chop. They deliver high quality American meat and seafood straight to your door. There are so many meat delivery services that could have sponsored today's video, but I wanted to talk about and support Good Chop because they source all of their meats and seafood exclusively from American farms and fisheries. And so by choosing Good Chop, you're supporting local farmers and independent ranchers right here in the US, which makes me super happy. You can customize your box with over 100 menu items, including USDA choice and prime steaks, 100% grass-fed beef, wild-caught seafood, organic chicken, responsibly raised pork, and so much more. And Good Chop sources the good stuff that they have a 100% money-back guarantee. You love Good Chop, or you get your money back. I really loved their chicken thighs. Of course, I'm a ribeye lover. I love those. And I really like that I can get wild-caught salmon and shrimp from them. I'll cook the shrimp in my pan on medium heat in some ghee. Doesn't take long to make. Comes out buttery, delicious, so good. You can get $50 off plus free shipping off your first order by going to goodchop.com/YouTube and inserting discount code LillieKane50 at checkout, or click the link in the video description to get that $50 off plus free shipping. Other simple things that you can do today to start improving your health are working on sleep and stress management, which one quick, easy tip I like to use is putting the cell phone in a completely different room, leaving it in the kitchen when you go to bed. Firstly, it'll keep you off your phone when you're laying in bed. You won't check it in the middle of the night, and then also you won't check it first thing when you wake up. I noticed for myself that I would check my phone in the morning and it kind of like wired my day and even put me in a bad mood sometimes depending on what I saw. And so instead, I don't even check my phone for the first hour and a half of my day, which is crazy because I get lots of emails and social media notifications and all sorts of things relating to being online. My whole business is online and I won't even check my electronics for an hour and a half. I take my time brushing my teeth, getting dressed, having breakfast, cleaning up, and then I will say, okay, let's see the emails. I also start my morning by writing down 3 things that I'm grateful for. It's free to do, it takes 2 minutes in the day, and it really does elevate my mood, set my day up on a good note. It puts positive energy and vibes out to the world when I'm centered and grounded with very simple things that bring me so much joy that I take for granted if I didn't give myself that small amount of time in the morning to reflect on very simple, great things I have going on in my life. For example, having a cold glass of water first thing when I wake up, or seeing the sun come through the window is so beautiful, or hearing the birds chirp and the bunnies that run by my house. I love bunnies. And I love that I was able to wake up this morning and breathe through my nose without any congestion, without any stuffiness. Just very small little things that are huge if we really take the time to reflect and just say, oh, I am so grateful for this. I'll be honest, sometimes when I'm at the gym, I will be on the treadmill or on the stair stepper and thinking about all the other things I have to do in my day. And I'm like, okay, I just can't wait to get out of the gym because I want to go and do those things. But then I catch myself and I start going, I'm so grateful I get to be here right now, that I can feel sweat, that I can move my legs, that I can build my muscles. And when I start doing that, again, in those moments of stress, anxiousness, fear, anger, being able to catch myself and be like, wait, why am I complaining? How can I create a win? How can I change my thinking to be something more positive? And being able to do this has been huge for my health. Managing stress for health is huge, whether that is gardening, scrapbooking, golfing, swimming, hiking, journaling, playing board games, playing video games, calling a friend, doing whatever it is that can release the stress. I know I have a lot of clients who, when they're feeling stress, they try to push the feeling down with pizza and chips and brownies. And it's like, okay, can we pause and instead try to release that energy out of our system through some other outlet? Everyone's got stress, everyone's dealing with stuff, and so finding a healthier practice to release that energy and changing our mind around like, is this actually that big of a deal? Can I let this go? Is everything going to be okay? Because it always is. Another thing you can do today to improve your health is get outside. Put your feet in the ground, listen to the birds, feel the wind, feel the sun, and just get out of the house, out of the artificial lights, out of the moldy house, and instead just get some fresh air. Another simple thing is getting more movement, whether that is taking the stairs instead of the elevator, parking further in the parking lot so that way you can get a few more steps in when you're walking in the store, doing arm circles while you watch the rest of this YouTube video, doing crunches when watching TV, doing calf raises under your desk at work, doing very small, simple things that can add up to more movement, more blood flow, more circulation, more strength. When I used to work in the office, I would go into the bathroom and do squats and lunges because I was sitting all day at work and I just felt like tired. And the more I sit, the more I start to slouch in my chair and in my couch and become a potato. And so I have to tell myself, hey, come on, stand up, get going, because it actually gives me more energy and makes me feel more alive. Another simple thing you can do today is go into your kitchen, go into your pantry, your fridge, your cabinets, and start clearing things out. Now, whether that is clearing out all of the junk food, or if that is just starting by clearing out the expired food, the food that is moldy and old and gross and that you're not going to eat anyway, having that in the house is probably clouding up your mind and making you feel more anxious. And so by clearing that out, organizing, making it a little bit more cleaned, less cluttered, can make a huge impact on your health. Another simple thing I would do today is I would go to my mirror, I would look at myself, and I would say 5 nice things that I love about myself, because I have so many clients who they have so much negative self-talk around their appearance, their personality, the way that they are, and I make them, hey, wait, pause. We're gonna start saying all of the nice things about ourselves, because by just changing that energy, it'll change how we show up in the world. It'll change how we wanna take care and love for ourselves. I think that if people have a lot of love for themselves, they end up eating healthier, exercising more, sleeping better, because it's just a way to honor their bodies. And so if I can get people to start loving on themselves more, it starts snowballing into other areas of their life. Ultimately, the truth is health isn't found in a pill bottle. It's built one choice at a time. And these doctors quit the medical system not because they gave up, but because they couldn't stay quiet anymore. They saw too many lives cut short by preventable disease, and they knew that there had to be a better way. And so the choice is in your hands. You don't have to wait for a doctor to prescribe you a better lifestyle. You can start today. Your body isn't broken. Your body doesn't need another pill. Your body just needs the right foundation. And the sooner you start building it, the sooner you'll start thriving. Now, even for me, I mentally struggled with getting off of the foods that I grew up having all the time. Pizza, chips, tortillas, soda, pasta, chocolate, ice cream. And so I had to find different swaps to help me transition off of those foods before I could eventually get to eating single ingredient, real whole foods. And so I made a video that shows healthier swaps to the favorite foods that you love. I'll put that video right here and in the video description. Be sure to check it out. Don't be silly, subscribe to Lillie, and I hope you have a happy day.